little bit of Skate came out
Skate.
in early access last week. Let's go down memory lane. 1999, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Tony Hawk was really good at capturing the subculture that was skateboarding at the time, which was very mainstream. You had the X Games, you had MTV, you had everything getting all over skateboarding at the time. And as skateboarding sort of fell out of the pop culture zeitgeist, Tony Hawk kind of got worse as the games went on, it felt like. Yeah. Until 2007, where Skate hit, and it was like a breath of fresh air, which I almost got wrong, is a very sort of trendy and low-key, and skateboarding is chill and cool and realistic. We're not just bouncing through this level, we're slowly kickflipping a gap. And Skate was really, really good at representing what the subculture was in 2007, when Tony Hawk wasn't. And then skateboarding games kind of disappeared after Skate 3 for like a decade. We had a couple of indie games that tried to be Skate, and now Skate is back because heaps of people kept writing hashtag Skate4 on every single EA post for about 5 years. And they announced it and everyone was hyped, and then they said it was a live service game and no one was hyped anymore.
Yep.
So here it is, and it is I have very mixed feelings about it because it is one of the most creatively compromised games I think I've ever played.
Wow.
It definitely feels like the suits got in here and dictated the aesthetic and the style and everything about the microtransactions and all of that. And what we have left is a game that is mechanically very similar to Skate 3, which was quite good, although I'd argue this is a bit worse and a bit more clunky, but it's also in early access and they're adding mechanics. But just the map is so boring and open and bland, and it even looks bland. And the music is just a mix of like random songs that don't mix together. And the voice of V, which is everyone's first impression with this game, you have this little AI robot thing that follows you around and talks. And she is so annoying. She is sort of like, I was listening to Jeff Gerstmann talk about this, and it seems like a game that was written by cops, is something he said.
No.
Skating is bad.
Yeah.
Cops and skateboarders don't get along.
And
Everyone knows that.
yeah, this V character is like, that was gnarly, dude.
Oh,
you know, that sort of thing.
That's
like
what I say to surfers
you
when they
really
get out of the
owned that
ocean.
gap. Like, you really owned this spot, and she doesn't stop talking. So you got to listen to that. You can mute it, but you can't mute all of it, which is funny. And there's no skaters in it anymore. And where skateboarding games, I think, traditionally were exceptionally good at representing what skateboarding was as a youth culture, counterculture thing, this one almost seems embarrassed to be a part of the franchise that was good at it. And so we have this weird situation where the mechanics are kind of fun. And Skate 3 to me was a game that I played about, let's say about 300 hours every year for the last 5 years, ever since it was on Game Pass. And the reason for that is it's sort of just like a fidget toy to me. And I can, whenever I like have a long phone call or something, I can just pop it on and flick around. And so I was kind of invested in playing this, and I am playing it still, which I think is a good sign because it is still kind of chilled out. But it also comes with this really disgustingly hollow feeling that it isn't quite on the level or understanding of why this franchise was good or how good it could be.
It's kind of, is it enough to drive you back to play more Skate 3?
Definitely,
I've heard a lot of
yeah.
people talking about that. It's almost been a reawakening of, it is on Game Pass. I'll go back and play Skate 3 because this is sitting so strangely with everyone, myself included.
Weird.
As you mentioned, the mechanics and the kind of flow state and the intuitiveness of the controls really builds on what works in the skate games to the point that more so than going back to the Tony Hawks recently, I just picked this up and instinctively knew how to play it with the flick stick and all the flip controls and the grinding and everything. It's a bit too floaty for me.
It is.
Which feels, again, like a reaction to how fast and like how heavy the gravity feels in Tony Hawks. Like it's a fast arcade game. It
has a lot of parkour, which you can see, which is
Well,
weird.
we should mention, Ruby, worry not, because that character isn't hurt. Do you know how I know this?
Why?
Because
V told you.
the AI tells you, and we were talking about this just before we went live, there is a, how would you put it? Just like, there's an in-world excuse for your character can never get hurt due to like a Omnicorp style brand of healthcare that means that the characters will never get hurt.
The insurance company looks after it all?
You just don't see it. there's no evidence of this outside of the character telling you multiple times that would have hurt if you weren't covered by the wonders of AI Omnicore or something.
Oh, cool. So it's like pro Big Pharma.
It's basically their way of writing in an excuse to make sure that parents don't get mad that kids are like, there's violence in this game through the ragdoll, which is a huge part of the Skate series. The ragdoll and the damage and this stuff was...
The cops of the medical profession.
That's kind of it. Like,
It's
it
a
made
funny
me feel
thing
gross.
about this
Skateboarding's
whole-
only interesting because people can get hurt.
Skate 3 had a mode where you would try and damage your skater
hate
as
to
much
say-
as possible. You would see an x-ray of how
Yeah.
many bones you broke.
Sick.
Like, I'm not saying that has to be in this game, but the weird sort of sanitization of how they've covered that or like tried to cover it just feels really...
It's very, very weird. So they had a very open, closed beta process where you could pretty easily get an invite, and they listened to a lot of feedback and seemed to ignore all of it. And what happened with Omnicorp, I think, is they were trying to
It's not called
satirize.
that, is it? It's called...
I think it is.
Is it?
It's, I
Chat
don't know.
knows.
Maybe it
There's
is
something they
OmniHealth.
call it. It's gross.
It seems like that was meant to be a corporate satire at some point, and they
Oh,
released an
okay.
ad with Tim Robinson where he was making fun of it, and it was sort of this whole bit. But the game got so watered down, and there's not really a storyline that it just comes across as like there's an evil corporation in this game, and you love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you look
and
up
it's
the
actually
business
really
reg-
It's actually really good.
no
If you look up
irony.
business registry, Andrew Wilson owns Omnicorp, and it's an insurance company.
Yeah.
started,
It just, I look at this world and especially the kind of like high rises just before, it looks like Inzoi. Which is not a compliment for the skate universe.
Well, it's-
because it looks so sanitized and so clean, and there's something so sucky about that.
Yeah.
to
It
me.
also feels gross that it is kind of built as a skater's paradise, and in that sense, like because of the amount of ramps and
Yeah.
things that are around, but in a way that makes it feel artificial. Like it doesn't feel like you're naturally finding cool lines to skate
Yeah.
or interesting monuments to turn into skate ramps. It's like they're all there for you, so it feels like a bit soulless and
There should be
joyless.
an old lady yelling at you and calling the police.
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah,
you
there's
go.
no,
There's
there's
no-
no
there's no
sense of
stitching.
rebellion.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's weirdly complicated parkour mechanics in the game, which is quite strange and feels like an attempt to appeal to a wider audience. The whole game feels like an attempt to appeal to a wider audience. And there's also a lot of cosmetics because it's free, which you'd expect, but it's really bad. Like, there's not many real brands, and the ones that are there you have to pay for, and we want real brands in games like this.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the like real life skaters because from memory they're in the other skates.
They're
They
in,
did like
there's heaps
they
of
had
them.
short films.
They
and
had
stuff
short
with-
films they put in them,
they
yeah,
did
and they did
sketches
their
with
own
them.
voice work in those games,
Yeah,
which is
right.
what eliminated this V problem where she's like gnarly.
Because that was the thing that introduced like even the Tony Hawk series. It's like those people became common household names, the Rodney Mullins, and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. If you didn't buy the VHS skate video and know it, you knew it through Tony
Yeah,
Hawk. And
exactly.
similarly, the skate games had that, and now
Yeah.
they don't.
And they don't, and it's really weird.
And you can't swim.
I think as,
Omnicorp
as
doesn't
a
cover that.
as a final point, I suppose, when Skate came out in 2007, it was very much like the realistic alternative to Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
This game is a lot easier than those old Skate games were. You kind of revert out of tricks really simply, and you lock into grinds really
You could
easily.
barely crash, like,
Yeah.
or stack a flip,
And
landing.
yeah, and the window has shifted because those indie games came out and were a lot more realistic than Skate ever was. But if this was an attempt to recapture the feeling that Skate had, where it was super realistic, it hasn't done that at all.
Did you play? Is it Sessions?
Yeah, Session and Skater XL were the big
Skater
ones.
XL. I tried Session. I didn't actually enjoy that. 'Cause
I find
found
it too clunky.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's we've gone both ends of the spectrum now, and there's just that Skate 3 is the perfect skate game.
Yeah.
Is there a a path ahead for this game where it becomes something
Well, it's interesting because
worthy of the Skate title?
it is always online, which, is a contentious thing.
Yeah.
But there doesn't feel like any hooks to keep playing it other than just skating around on your own.
Yeah.
So the other players are kind of there and you kind of see them, but there's not a lot of incentive to buy the stuff that they're trying to sell you.
Yeah.
And apparently it launched and it got like 2 million players because everyone loves skate.
Yeah.
But as far as a long-term life for this thing, I can't picture how they're going to generate enough revenue from an EA point of view to justify keeping it, especially as a game that they kind of shit out in the background just to appease fans. Like, they don't care about this. They care about
Yeah.
FIFA.
And I think that care kind of went with the loss of like the developers' focus on the culture. Like
Yeah.
Tony Hawk games and the early skate games, so much of it was diving into skater culture, getting those professional skaters involved. The music as well is such a big part of it.
Sure, but it's like that's licensing that costs a bunch of money, right? Like there's a world where they're testing the waters here, making sure they've got a good product before they go to
a bigger game.
There's no, not even a bigger game. If this is a live service game, if this is the skate game for the next decade,
the window dressing
and go,
they had at the
let's
end.
get all the big skaters now into this game. Like that's the next phase. It's in early access, right? It's like before launch. It's like we're gonna put in the newspapers rolling through the city streets to give some energy to this empty space.
Yeah,
but also we're gonna have whoever the modern Bam Margeras are of the world. You know?
I mean, there's nothing that has told me that they're going to prioritize that at all about this game. Yeah.
It'd be really nice. I even hearing you say that makes me go,
it's
that'd
like,
be nice if this feels generic and soulless because it's a grey box of the game, but it playing it
literally looks like a grey box of a game.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Have they talked about another city or map? Because I just thought from what I played, it is just this one.
From
kind
what
of like
I know, they're going to
Seattle
evolve the soundtrack and the map as seasons come out and all that sort of thing. So we'll see.
Buy the season pass.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vomit.